Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hi, I'm Shay, and welcome to the Shay Era. In this series, we are talking about my creative recovery journey through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Last week we talked about week 3, which was recovering a sense of power. Now, we're talking about recovering a sense of integrity. Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Basically, staying true to who you are and owning up to having accountability for certain things. I feel like with this journey, you have to have a lot of integrity because you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be real with yourself through this whole process. I cannot say that enough. If you are not real with yourself through this process, you won't get real results. You have to have a sense of integrity to hold yourself accountable through this process so that you can really get down to the gritty of what's going on in there. You can't change what you can't see, and I can't say that enough. Going into week 4, we're going to talk about the insights that I got from this chapter. So this chapter was pretty much about being honest about the changes that you're experiencing and allowing yourself to really feel what you're feeling and deal with what you need to deal with. So she talks about using okay as a blanket word. Now, what's a blanket word? Think of a blanket word as something that is covering how you're really feeling. Okay is one of the biggest blanket words that we all use. When someone asks how we feel, what do we say? Oh, I'm okay. No, you're not. You're starting to understand that there are feelings that you have that you need to come to terms with and really understand so that you can move forward with your life. And you can't move forward if you keep covering how you really feel with just general terms like, I'm okay. You're not okay, and it's okay, all right? Okay. With using okay as a blanket term, you're putting yourself in denial that something's even wrong. Extreme emotions are triggers for avoidance. You're avoiding how you're really feeling about something. I think it was in like week 2 when we were talking about anger. Anger is really just a primary emotion where it's just like a cover emotion. When you get angry, there's something you're feeling under that. Angry is just a response to an emotion that has been repressed or suppressed for a very long time. So now it's starting to irritate you. Now it's starting to get on your nerves. So that's when it starts to become these different things that trigger us to be certain ways that we're not quite understanding. Why am I even this upset? It's because you've been ignoring how you really feel, and it's time for you to really feel those feelings now. Seeing that, oh, there's a real block here, and this block is keeping me from reaching a certain level of vulnerability that I need to reach the peak of my creativity. Because in order for you to be truly creative, you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable with yourself. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable in certain situations and certain expressive moments so that you can get down to how you really feel about things. You may have been experiencing a lot of times where you've had to suppress or repress your emotions or how you really feel about something in order to not overshadow someone else's emotions or overshadow something that may be going on that you feel like, oh, my feelings are not important. Your feelings are very much so important. They're there for a reason. We have to go through certain experiences so that we can understand those emotions and those feelings. That's why it's important for us to feel our emotions, but we don't take the time to figure out what I'm really feeling or where is this coming from. Is very important because if you think about it, the great creator is nothing but curious about itself. So if you take the time to get curious about yourself, you'll start to see the different aspects and things that you are able to create because of who you are. Make sense? For my morning pages, I did 6 out of 7. Most of my morning pages were focused on getting myself back in order because I started to fall off a little bit with a little bit of the, nursing my daughter and feeling a little bit of anxiety and dealing with a lot of things with having to miss a lot of work and just like get thrown off completely from the schedule that I thought that I was going to follow. But really understanding how to control my negative thinking and thought patterns. I was in week 3, I did discover that it was a good idea for me to start timing everything that I do. So like every time I was doing a task, whether it was reading or studying, I timed myself to see how much time it really takes me to do things so that I can structure my time schedule and time block, which is very, 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 very useful. It's very useful when you know how much time you need for something, because if you don't know how much time you really need for something, you can't make the time for it. And then that's when you start to lose that time discipline because you're like, oh, I only got 15 minutes. Let me, No, you want want to see how much time it takes you to really do something so that you can see it to completion, or at least to a point of stop where you can allow yourself to reset and handle what you need to handle, but then come back where you were with the amount of time that you have allotted for that task. What I would like to say is my artist date this week, I focused a lot on story building. So like I said, I've been doing a lot of creative writing and things like that. And I realized I don't know how to do that either. Like it's one thing when you're just writing for fun, when you're just writing what's coming out of your mind. But when you're really trying to structure something for like a story, like a novel or something, you really need to know what your plan is for that story. So I went down the rabbit hole of understanding what creative writing really is and how to really build a story and all the different perspectives and all this other thing. So I spent my artist dates really honing in on what story building really was. Most of the time I spent writing and editing, working on my videos for YouTube, for you guys, and working on, you know, my creative writing and getting a real structure of how that stuff works. When it comes to the challenges I had for this week, I was sick. Like I was really like, aside from getting an understanding of what she meant about the reading deprivation and understanding, you know, just eliminate distractions. I couldn't really think too clear with all the things and the circumstances of my life at that time, but really being sick and really understanding what blockages really are were my main challenges this week. I caught myself scrolling a couple times, but then I realized like through these challenges, I was able to understand what is really important to me. What are my priorities? What am I trying to do? And even when I was taken down for the count for that day, I got up the next day like, all right, I feel well enough. I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna clean the house, I'm gonna get my structure together, I'm gonna try and do this, I'm gonna try and do that, I'm gonna get it together. And that's the one thing I can say that I learned from my challenges this week is that life gonna be life. Life is definitely gonna test and see how committed you are to the dreams and the promises that you've made to yourself. So when you really put in the effort to try and be the best that you can possibly be, things get activated. A new side of you starts to emerge, but you have to be able to allow yourself to be that version of yourself that you need to be that allows these changes to take place. I am grateful for this experience. I'm glad I made it through week 4. Week 4 was about recovering a sense of integrity. Week 5 is about recovering a sense of possibilities. So now that we've taken the time to be honest with ourselves and build this and really get down to the nitty-gritty of what we want and who we want to be, now let's see what that can turn into. The land of possibilities. The land of what can I do now? Yeah, so I think that's it. We out of here. It's been good, it's been Gucci, it's been smooth. Nah, but for real though, I hope you guys have a great week, and always remember to keep the promises you made to yourself, okay? Okay. Every step you take is a masterpiece in the making. What's one small change you can make to honor your creativity? Let me know down in the comments. And we out.